people see. See these two holes? They don't line up two holes next to each other and then put your Allen set screws in there. If you do that, you are not compressing the collar. If you know, see where the cut is in the collar of the slit? If you don't have the set screws on both sides compressing the collar together, it will come off your shaft. So this is very important. It's why we make videos, because you can't mistake it on a video. All right, so let's get this. We'll turn this around until we find the perfect match. There we go. Now see what I did is I turned it around until I had two matching holes on the opposite sides of each other, direct opposite sides, not close to each other, because this way, as I put these set screws in here, it will compress this collar. That's how this works. Now what's cool about this is if you ever want to take it off of your engine, all you have to do is take your two set screws out, put them in the bottom hole, and put them in there, and it will pop itself apart. You don't have to force anything, you don't have to hammer anything, you don't have to do anything a little drastic like that, alright? You should never have an engine without a drive plate already on it. We do all that assembly here at the factory. Now, what I've done is I've slid the drive on the bottom, okay, and we talked about that earlier, showing how to slide on and off. I've slid the drive in, and I've tightened the 3/16 with my 3/16 Allen wrench here, and I've tightened them down a little bit more than hand tight. Matter of fact, I used a box and wrench, and then I tightened it a little bit with the box and wrench. Basically, you put the box and wrench over the top of the Allen, and it gives you a little binding pressure. You don't want it on there really tight until you get the belt on. Where you're going to torque it is once the belt is on. When it's just about hand tight, it's usually strong enough to not come loose at all or even move around. Then what you want to do is, after you got it pretty snug, you want to take and measure, put your belt on and measure with a straight angle going between your bolts right here, and then make sure that that's flat and that it actually rolls on top of this other piece without having to be bound or forced over the top of it. So once it's level like that, then we know our belt is fine. So you want it to be as level as possible, and a straight angle will do that usually a lot better than your eyes. Now the good thing is, this is why we talk about running your Eagle for a while, because we'll assemble it when you get it. But you should run it for a while just to make sure the belt's not going to walk. If the belt walks, it's because it's too loose normally. And if it's off down here by quite a bit, it means some of those little plugs are loose. They're not real tight. And so what you'll have to do is tighten them again. So what we've done is we put the belt on. Now we're going to show you how to tighten the shaft. You take your 15mm socket, adjustable wrench, and remember we've already taken the castle nut in the back, and we've snugged it but not tightened it. We've snugged it so that we can get a good tight belt adjustment. Okay, now see how I'm turning that? And the belt is getting tight. And I like the belts to be very tight. You hear that? I mean, that's tight. You know, C flat right there, nice and tight. Now what I do is, once I get it nice and tight, I will take my special spanner wrench, go on the back side where that castle nut is, lock it on, and then tighten this bad boy down. And if it won't tighten, it means it's already kind of snug. I can take a cheater pipe and tighten that. Well, now I like to put a good 60-70 pounds on it, which is quite a bit. Makes it nice and tight. The belt is still tight, it didn't adjust. Now if you're having problems when you tighten it in the back and it starts moving in the front, you're going to have a ratchet on one side and your spanner on the other side, and put force so that the upper pulley doesn't move while you're tightening your belt. Alright, as you see on the back here, I've tightened it up. Now what I like to do now is find the closest tab that'll fit the back of the drive. So what I'll do is, if I don't see one, I will tighten it just a little bit more, like let's say, so this one right here can fit in there. So this is where my spanner wrench comes into play, and my adjustable, or my pipe, or I can use a 1/2 inch ratchet, excuse me. You can put as much torque on these as you want, really. It's hard to put too much. There you go. Now, I've got that to where it lines up. See the back here on that tab? Now what I want to do is I'm going to leave that tab alone unless I'm testing this engine and running this engine up myself on a fully assembled Green Eagle and doing a run-up. Then I won't bend that tab in. But what you're going to look for is, you're going to look and see that the tab is there. And then let's say on this belt, I know that it's on there tight. I know that it's not going anywhere. So I can take a regular screwdriver and I can tap it in by hand. That's it. You don't have to go real tight, but what that does is that'll lock it in and keep that castle nut from turning. So there you go. The drive is on. We've checked out the drive. The belt is nice and level and nice and straight with the lower drive. And now is the time that we can really put the torque on these lower Allen wrenches. And I'll put about 16, 17 pounds, but like I said, no more than 18 pounds. There's kind of a 18 pounds is a fail limit on the threads. And I like to tighten them pretty tight because I've never had a drive come apart on me, and I don't want to start now. So, and remember what we also said, now that you got your drive, your engine's running, you've tested it out, everything seems to work just fine, you've put your prop on, you're having fun, and nothing seems to be coming loose, nothing seems to be adjusting anymore, that it's set in place. Take one of them out, one of your set screws out. You take the set screw out, you put blue Loctite on it, you put it back in. Do not use red or any other Loctite. Blue will work perfectly, and it will not damage the threads, and it'll also just literally seal your drive. It's not going to move anywhere. What I love about this kind of system is I can move it backwards and forwards to always properly adjust your belts. There's a lot of tapered shaft systems out there that don't allow any adjustment. You know, you can have to shim everything, and it's never really dead on like being able to move these on the lower shaft. After an hour or two of operation on the ground, always take one set screw out at a time. One set screw out, put blue Loctite on it, put it back in, torque it good. Then take the other one out, put blue Loctite on it, torque it good. Measure it, making sure it didn't shift any, and you're good to go. Also, if you lose one of these little set screws, they can be lost. The part is, they're 3/8, 16 by 5/8. So there are 3/8 set screw. That's the size of the thread. The size of the thread is 3/8. They're 3/8 by 16 times 5/8. So 3/8, 16, 5/8. I'm going to put this up really, really close so you can see it, because some people have lost these in the grass or something of that nature, and good luck finding them. So if I know that you have a drive kit that I'm sending you, I will most likely send you an extra one, just in case. But if it's already come together like this, then there's not much more than you need to do. And for the most part, 95% of the time when an Eagle goes out, it goes out with the drive and drive plate already assembled. If you're using it on a Green Eagle where those tubes kind of in the way of this castle nut, what you're going to have to use is use your spanner and use a cheater bar, to get inside there without scratching your tube. You can also put tape on it so that you don't scratch your tube, or wrap it in some kind of a plastic, and this way you won't scratch your tube that's going, your engine bar that's going across the back. So there you go. If you have any questions, give us a call.